Hi, I'm Charlene Stevens, the City Administrator for the City of Cottage Grove. Joining me today for Council Update is Councilmember Steve Dennis. Today we're going to discuss some city ordinance changes. Councilmember, we made a few ordinance changes at the last council meeting in June, and a lot of these affect kind of property maintenance in the city, and maybe you want to talk about them. They kind of fall into three main areas.
And the first area being long grass and weeds. So we made a text amendment to City Code Title 4-3-2. And in essence, what this does is it decreases the length of time allowed between a notice of non-compliance and abatement, which would be removal, from 10 days down to 5. Property owners are mailed a notice if their vegetation, which would include grass, weeds, brush, etc., if it exceeds 8 inches in height. And the ordinance change would now have 5 days to comply instead of the previous. Second is rentals, and this would be pertaining to housing rentals. Text amendment was made to City Code Title 9-7 relating to structure and property maintenance code, which include residential and multifamily rentals. We adopted a plan to better manage the city's rental program and promote safe, sanitary, and adequate rental properties in the city. Changes made will make it easier for people to interpret, and this will come in handy for us because over the last 10 years we've actually seen a 164% increase in the number of rental properties here in the city itself. And in Cottage Grove, when you look at what we do, we are included with 64 additional Minnesota cities who have a rental program in place as well.
All right, and part of that change also will include that property managers undergo a background check for their rental license and inspection as well. So that's another kind of improvement to that, I think, to provide some better assurance and safety to folks who are renting properties, that the property managers have undergone a background check.
Exactly, and whenever we provide licenses, I always like to remind folks that, you know, a license is a privilege. It's not a guarantee or a right. So when you meet certain criteria and do the right things, you definitely qualify. And again, going back to what we talked about before, providing safety and security is always one of our main goals.
Okay. And our kind of last area that we made some improvements to is our commercial parking lots and how to see that those remain maintained in our community.
We did, and the amendment to City Code Titles 4-1-5K and 4-1-6 were made to address potholes and deteriorated pavement surfaces at private commercial access drives and parking lots. And I think we all have a few of those places in mind that we've driven down that need a little bit of upkeep and maintenance. And unfortunately, that if we don't get involved in the process, sometimes it just doesn't occur. So we have received a lot of complaints from residents over the years on these private-owned parking lots. We have addressed and worked hard to ensure physical areas by retail sites will be properly maintained to limit the risk of damage to vehicles and also hazards for folks that might even be walking there. Excessive pavement deterioration is now defined as an in excess of 36 square inch and 2 inch deep hazard that could include trip hazards in sidewalks, walking surfaces, or other areas not in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act.
All right, and so on this too, the other last thing is that people have about 5 to 14 days to try to address the issue. So we're reasonable in giving people time to address the issue.
Yeah, and I think we always are when we do that, because it's not trying to create a hardship, but rather find ways to work together to get things done. So in closing, I'd like to take a moment to thank our community for their cooperation during our current watering ban. This has been a frustrating time for everyone, and we understand the inconveniences it has caused, but are working hard to bring solutions forward that are expected to occur during the last week of July. As I have said before, one of the greatest responsibilities we undertake as council and staff is to provide a safe and secure environment for all residents to live, raise their families, and have their homes and property here with peace of mind. Please follow the city's website for the most current and up-to-date news for all information pertaining to the watering ban and other city-related activities. Our website is www.cottage-grove.org. Thank you very much.
For more information about city ordinance changes, you can contact Code Enforcement Officer Samantha Drury. Thank you, Councilmember Dennis.